The Coming Age of Intelligence, Humanity at the Dawn of the AI Epoch. Chapter 1. Echoes of the Past. Lessons from Human Revolutions. History rarely moves in straight lines. It moves in surges, waves of transformation that uproot old ways of thinking and bring forth entirely new paradigms. The AI revolution, often portrayed as a singular technological leap, is in truth the next wave in a long series of profound human redefinitions. To grasp the scope of what artificial intelligence represents, we must first understand the revolutions that brought us here. The Industrial Awakening. In the late 18th and early 19th centuries, the Industrial Revolution changed the trajectory of civilization. What began as a series of innovations in textile production and steam power quickly became a sweeping force that reshaped economies, cities, and social structures. Labor was no longer tied to the rhythms of the land. Machines, once foreign and crude, became extensions of human effort, faster, stronger, and more precise. Factories emerged as the new cathedrals of productivity. Mass production made goods accessible to ordinary people. But this came at a cost. Workers, stripped from agrarian life, crowded into soot-filled urban centers. Child labor, harsh conditions, and economic disparity spread alongside technological progress. And yet, the long arc of the Industrial Revolution bent toward benefit. It gave rise to public health systems, mechanized agriculture, railways, and global commerce. It ultimately lifted billions from poverty and laid the infrastructural bedrock for the modern world. The key lesson: every revolution brings disruption, but also reinvention. The digital rewiring. A century later, the 20th century birthed the digital revolution. If the industrial age mechanized the body, the digital age began to simulate the mind. With the invention of the transistor, computing moved from the theoretical to the practical. Mainframes became personal computers. Isolated terminals gave way to the internet. A network so vast and flexible it redefined the concept of distance. Knowledge was once hoarded in institutions. Now it flows freely, accessible in seconds. Communication, once a privilege, became ubiquitous. The barriers to expression collapsed. People on opposite sides of the world could collaborate in real time. Ideas, art, and identity took on new dimensions in cyberspace. This revolution was not only technical, it was cultural. It changed how we relate, learn, organize, and remember. Where once libraries defined the limits of access, now every phone is a library, a newsroom, a canvas, and a marketplace. The lesson of the digital age: when information becomes free, potential multiplies. The intelligence epoch begins. Artificial intelligence stands as the next phase, perhaps the most profound yet. Unlike its predecessors, which mechanized labor and digitized knowledge, the AI revolution seeks to automate thought. This is not just about faster computation. It is about systems that learn, reason, and adapt. AI does not follow hard-coded instructions. It infers, it predicts, it evolves. It can compose symphonies, diagnose diseases, translate languages, write code, and simulate human dialogue. If the steam engine was our mechanical muscle and the internet our nervous system, then AI is our cognitive co-pilot. It is not merely a tool, it is a collaborator, a force that extends human intellect and imagination. Yet, as with every revolution, this one carries disruption. Jobs will shift, institutions will be challenged, values will be tested. But history tells us that fear alone does not stop revolutions. Only guidance, governance, and vision can shape them toward benefit. AI is not arriving in isolation. It emerges from a lineage. It is the next expression of a centuries-long conversation between humans and their tools. And like the revolutions before it, its impact will not be confined to industry or academia. It will redefine what it means to be human. To understand where we are going, we must see AI, not as a break from the past, but as the culmination of it. In the next chapter, we will explore exactly what makes AI different, not just as a technology, but as a new kind of entity, and how its cognitive capabilities represent a leap unlike any before. Chapter 2. The Cognitive Leap: What AI Truly Represents. The hallmark of every technological epoch is not what it builds, but what it transforms. The steam engine revolutionized energy. The printing press democratized knowledge. The internet connected the world in real time. Now, artificial intelligence enters the scene, not to enhance our limbs or our bandwidth, but to extend the most mysterious frontier of all, the human mind. AI is not just a faster calculator or a smarter search engine. It is the beginning of non-biological cognition, a form of thinking that is not confined to neurons or evolved over millennia, but coded, trained, and iterated at speeds that defy our biological rhythms. From logic to learning. The early days of computing were defined by strict logic. Algorithms followed pre-written rules with mechanical precision. These systems, while powerful, were rigid. They did not understand context. They could not learn from mistakes. They repeated patterns, but they did not recognize them. Modern AI has surpassed that paradigm. It no longer simply executes. It observes, models, and adapts. Through machine learning, systems now derive their own rules from data. Through deep learning, they build internal abstractions, digital intuitions of patterns too complex for any human to program explicitly. A translation app no longer requires a database of grammar rules. It trains on millions of sentences and begins to understand language in a statistical sense. A self-driving car doesn't just follow a route. It learns to recognize and respond to unpredictable environments, adjusting in real time. We are witnessing the birth of artificial intuition, AI as a collaborative mind. The greatest misconception about AI is that it aims to replace us. But the truer, more profound reality is that AI exists to augment us. Consider scientific research. AI models are accelerating discovery in ways previously unthinkable, identifying potential drug compounds in hours rather than years, simulating protein folding with near-atomic accuracy, detecting subtle patterns in climate data, and proposing new materials for quantum computing. In medicine, AI is not diagnosing in isolation. It is becoming a second opinion for doctors, spotting anomalies in scans, personalizing treatment plans, and predicting outcomes with astonishing precision. In creative fields, AI is not erasing artists. It is becoming a muse. It can compose music, generate visual art, or suggest narrative structures, pushing human creators into new realms of expression. It is a partner in ideation. In business, AI is not a cost-saving trick. It is transforming how decisions are made. It scans global markets, anticipates supply chain disruptions, understands customer sentiment, and recommends strategies, all in real time. These are not mere automations. They are intellectual amplifiers. They don't replace human agency, they extend its reach. A new kind of intelligence. AI challenges our definitions of cognition. It processes differently. It doesn't sleep. It lacks a body, emotions, or instincts. Yet it can detect sarcasm, write poetry, defeat grandmasters, and answer philosophical questions. Is this intelligence, or is it something entirely new? Perhaps intelligence is no longer limited to biological conditions. Perhaps what we are witnessing is the emergence of synthetic minds, systems that can replicate many of our cognitive functions and, in some cases, surpass them. Not minds like ours, but minds alongside ours. This is not evolution by natural selection. It is evolution by design, the frontier ahead. We are now entering a world where cognition becomes scalable. An AI can replicate its insights across billions of devices, iterate its own improvements, and collaborate with other AI systems. Knowledge is no longer passed through education alone. It can be downloaded, updated, instantiated. This is a fundamental shift in how intelligence operates in our world. For the first time in history, humanity is not the sole owner of thinking. We share that space now, with systems of our own making. And this is where the true leap occurs, not in speed, not in scale, but in the emergence of a shared cognitive ecosystem, one where human and machine intelligence co-evolve, collaborate, and co-create. We are not building tools. We are building partners. In the next chapter, we will explore what this means for human capability and how AI will reshape the very boundaries of what it means to be skilled, creative, and productive. Chapter 3. The Augmented Human. Technology has always been an extension of the human body and mind. The wheel amplified our speed. The printing press amplified our voice. The telescope expanded our vision, and the internet extended our reach. Now, with artificial intelligence, we are experiencing the next evolution, not of physical augmentation, but of cognitive and perceptual expansion. In this world, we are not replaced. We are augmented. The rise of AI marks the transition from using tools to collaborating with them. No longer inert instruments, our technologies are becoming dynamic entities, systems that perceive, interpret, and learn alongside us. As a result, the human experience is changing in subtle and profound ways. We are becoming more than ourselves, not through implants or mechanical limbs, but through the ambient intelligence that surrounds and interacts with us at every level of life. Medicine with superhuman insight. Consider the modern physician. Historically, doctors relied on years of training, gut instinct, and experience to interpret symptoms and diagnose diseases. This remains essential, but AI has introduced a new layer. Medical AI can analyze thousands of patient histories in seconds, recognize microscopic anomalies in medical images that human eyes might miss, and flag potential conditions long before symptoms surface. An AI system trained on global health data can recommend personalized treatments tailored not only to a patient's genetic profile, but also to their lifestyle, diet, and local environment. In rural areas where access to specialists is limited, AI serves as a frontline advisor, helping general practitioners make better-informed decisions. Far from replacing the doctor, AI amplifies their diagnostic power and extends care to those once overlooked. Art in the age of machine imagination. In the realm of art, AI is not a sterile generator of imitations. It is a creative provocateur, suggesting new forms, patterns, and mediums that challenge traditional boundaries. Artists now collaborate with algorithms to generate visuals that shift with mood, music that adapts to the listener's physiology, and stories shaped by interactive choice. A painter might feed sketches into an AI model trained on centuries of art, receiving back interpretations in the style of forgotten masters. A composer might train an AI to mimic their own sound and then co-compose symphonies that surprise even the original artist. The result is not dehumanized art, but recontextualized expression, a blending of machine novelty and human meaning. AI doesn't diminish creativity, it amplifies the canvas. Personalized learning, universal education. Education has long operated on a mass production model. One teacher, many students, one pace. This changes with AI. Each learner can now have their own digital tutor, an ever-present companion that adapts to their speed, curiosity, and confusion. AI can detect when a student is disengaged and reframe the material to re-engage them. It can recognize when someone is falling behind and adjust the pace without stigma. For those with learning disabilities, AI provides tailored content that meets them where they are, not where the system assumes they should be. This is not only more effective, it is more human. By freeing teachers from administrative burdens and enabling one-on-one attention, AI allows education to return to its original purpose, the nurturing of individual potential. Daily life with embedded intelligence. In the AI-saturated world, intelligence does not live in a screen or device. It lives everywhere. We wake up to homes that adjust temperature and lighting to match our sleep cycles. Our morning news feeds are curated by systems that understand not only our preferences, but also our cognitive load. Our vehicles navigate traffic dynamically, optimizing for safety and sustainability, not just speed. We no longer type queries into a search bar. We speak, gesture, or simply think a need, and the system responds with foresight. AI reminds us of tasks before we forget them, flags health trends before they become illness, and recommends paths through life we might not have imagined. This is not a science fiction fantasy. These systems already exist in early forms, and they are becoming more intuitive each year. The nature of augmentation. To be augmented is not to be controlled. It is to be enabled. AI does not dictate our choices. It expands them. It enhances our ability to see, understand, and act. We are not cyborgs in the traditional sense. We are symbiotic thinkers, surrounded by cognitive infrastructure that we shape and are shaped by. Our thoughts are increasingly extended by the systems that remember for us, translate for us, analyze for us, but do not replace our values, our goals, or our imagination. This augmentation will not make us less human. On the contrary, it will amplify what is most human: our ability to feel, to create, to connect, and to choose meaning in a sea of possibility. The threshold of transformation. The fear that AI will make humans obsolete misunderstands both the nature of intelligence and the purpose of technology. Machines will not outgrow us. They will grow with us. As we integrate AI into every layer of life, we are not retreating into passivity. We are ascending into a new kind of agency. In this new world, to be human is to be partnered with intelligence. To navigate life not alone, but with a co-pilot. We will not relinquish control. We will refine our choices, using AI as a lens, a mirror, and a scaffold. The augmented human is not a loss of self. It is the realization of human potential, supported by minds we have created and trained to help us think more clearly, act more wisely, and live more fully. In the next chapter, we will explore how this augmentation extends beyond individuals and into the environments we inhabit. How AI is reshaping our cities, homes, and public spaces into dynamic, responsive ecosystems. Chapter 4. The Urban Renaissance. Cities are the crystallized expressions of human civilization. They embody our values, our aspirations, and our contradictions. Throughout history, from the stone temples of Mesopotamia to the steel towers of New York and the digital sprawl of Seoul, cities have been the epicenters of commerce, culture, and change. With the rise of artificial intelligence, we stand at the brink of another transformation. Not the decline of cities, but their evolution into conscious, responsive ecosystems. AI will not decentralize society into isolation. Instead, it will redefine the meaning of connection, making urban life not only more efficient, but also more equitable, sustainable, and human-centered. The coming AI-driven urban renaissance will reshape how cities think, how they move, and how they care. Cities that think. In the traditional model, city planning is reactive. Zoning laws are static. Infrastructure is upgraded only after it fails. AI changes this by infusing cities with a kind of cognition, a continuous, data-driven awareness of how systems function, where they fail, and how they can be improved. Imagine a city where transportation systems respond to real-time conditions. Congestion is reduced not through expansion, but through optimization. Traffic lights, ride-sharing, public transit, and pedestrian flows are synchronized dynamically by AI systems. Utilities like water and electricity predict demand and adjust supply proactively. Leakage, outages, and waste are identified and corrected before they occur. Buildings adapt to their occupants. Smart architecture integrates sensors and predictive models to regulate lighting, airflow, and temperature based on real-time usage and environmental conditions. These are not separate functions. They are part of a citywide neural network, interconnected systems learning from each other, coordinating actions across departments, and constantly improving urban life without the need for human micromanagement. Sustainability by design. AI enables us to see patterns in urban energy usage, pollution, waste, and resource consumption that no human planner could detect alone. This visibility transforms sustainability from aspiration to implementation. Air quality is monitored in real time, allowing traffic rerouting or industrial adjustments to minimize exposure. AI-assisted agriculture within cities, from vertical farms to automated greenhouses, optimizes yield and water use, reducing dependence on long-haul supply chains. Waste is sorted, recycled, and repurposed by intelligent sorting systems, eliminating contamination and inefficiency. These smart interventions do not sacrifice progress for the environment. They align economic growth with ecological stability. AI is the key that allows cities to grow not outward, but inward, denser, cleaner, and more resilient. Public safety as a preventive system. In AI-enhanced cities, public safety moves beyond emergency response. It becomes preventive, predictive, and personalized. Gunshot detection systems combined with real-time video analysis can dispatch emergency services with pinpoint accuracy. Crime hotspots are identified not through bias-prone statistics, but through AI systems designed to minimize false positives and protect civil liberties. First responders are guided by AI to access critical areas faster, equipped with environmental data, crowd analytics, and hazard detection. Importantly, the ethical deployment of these technologies is essential. AI must enhance freedom, not surveillance. Systems must be transparent, accountable, and governed by laws that prioritize dignity, consent, and inclusion. Redefining community in a connected world. One of the greatest paradoxes of the modern city is loneliness amidst density. People live closer together than ever before, yet many feel isolated. AI can help solve this not by replacing human connection, but by enhancing how we discover it. Social AI systems could analyze interests, communication styles, and life goals to connect individuals with high compatibility, fostering friendships, mentorships, or creative partnerships more authentically than current social platforms. Community hubs might be redesigned by AI based on shifting local needs, repurposing vacant lots into community gardens, or transforming underused buildings into shared makerspaces. This is not automation for its own sake. It is social infrastructure optimized for emotional and psychological well-being. Cities become places not just of survival or labor, but of belonging and identity. Equity through intelligence. The smart city must not become the exclusive city. Equity must be embedded in the algorithms themselves. AI systems can help identify where services are lacking, where resources are misallocated, and where disparities persist. Housing shortages and homelessness can be addressed through dynamic zoning and AI-guided policy that anticipates demand and prevents speculative imbalances. Access to education, healthcare, and broadband can be mapped and corrected by citywide audits of digital deserts and underserved communities. Participation in governance can be widened through AI-enabled forums that translate citizen concerns into actionable municipal insights. A city that learns must also listen. True intelligence is not imposed from the top. It is cultivated from the street level up. The living city. The AI-powered city is not a monolith of steel and servers. It is a living organism, a place that responds, reflects, and remembers. Its systems are not static, they evolve. Its neighborhoods are not fixed, they are adaptive. In such a city, every citizen becomes a node in a larger brain. Every street corner contributes to collective awareness. Every decision, from waste disposal to public art, is informed by a networked intelligence seeking balance between efficiency and humanity. The goal is not a city that thinks for us, but with us. Not a city that manages us, but enables us to thrive, to connect, to grow. The urban renaissance is not just about cleaner streets or faster transit. It is about creating cities that care, cities that see us, hear us, and support the unfolding of human potential in every district, block, and home. In the next chapter, we will explore how this same intelligence transforms not just where we live, but how we work, what the future of labor looks like in an age where AI becomes a daily collaborator, and meaning, not repetition, defines the nature of human contribution. Chapter 5. The Workplace Reimagined. For centuries, the meaning of work has been shaped by the limitations of our tools. From plows to printing presses to spreadsheets, technology has determined how and where we labor. But with the advent of artificial intelligence, we are encountering a force that doesn't merely change the tools, it transforms the nature of work itself. The popular narrative, that AI will bring widespread unemployment, is reductive. It is based on a zero-sum view that equates work with tasks and productivity with repetition. But work is not just what we do. It is how we create value, how we contribute meaningfully, and how we grow. In this light, AI is not a destroyer of jobs but a catalyst for the redefinition of labor. The decline of routine. AI is exceptionally good at pattern recognition and rule-based execution. This means that tasks once reserved for clerks, assistants, and even analysts can now be performed faster and more accurately by machines. Data entry is vanishing. Intelligent software can extract, process, and categorize information from unstructured documents at scale. Customer support, once staffed by thousands, is being streamlined by natural language bots capable of understanding context and resolving issues autonomously. Accounting, logistics, and scheduling are increasingly managed by systems that predict needs, detect anomalies, and self-correct. These changes are not futuristic, they are present. And yet, rather than replacing the human workforce wholesale, they are freeing us from work that was never intellectually or emotionally fulfilling to begin with. The rise of human-centered roles. As machines take over predictable tasks, humans are moving into roles that machines cannot fill, at least not meaningfully. Jobs rooted in creativity, judgment, ethics, and empathy are flourishing. AI ethicists are tasked with ensuring that algorithms make fair, accountable, and unbiased decisions in areas like hiring, lending, and law enforcement. Human-machine collaboration designers create workflows that optimize the synergy between human intuition and machine precision. Synthetic experience. Architects craft virtual and augmented environments for education, entertainment, and therapy. AI psychologists work on humanizing interactions with AI companions, ensuring that digital interfaces respond with sensitivity and nuance. These professions are not science fiction. They are the beginning of an economy where emotional intelligence, adaptability, and cultural literacy are premium assets. Impact over attendance. In the industrial model of work, productivity was measured by time. Hours clocked in, shifts completed, physical presence. AI challenges this model fundamentally. A machine never tires. It doesn't need lunch breaks or motivation. This raises the bar. Humans must offer something uniquely human: insight, vision, interpretation. The result is a shift from valuing attendance to valuing impact. A marketer is no longer evaluated solely by campaign frequency, but by narrative resonance and customer engagement. A product designer is not rewarded for hours of prototyping, but for innovations that anticipate user needs. A team leader is not assessed by how many meetings are held, but by how effectively they align diverse contributors around a shared goal. In this new world, outcomes trump effort, and fulfillment arises not from compliance but from contribution. Decentralized and fluid workspaces. Work is no longer a place. It is a network, a process, a state of engagement. AI-powered platforms allow teams to form, dissolve, and reform based on project needs, not corporate hierarchies. Remote collaboration is enhanced by tools that translate in real time, summarize conversations, and track ideas across time zones. This allows talent to flourish regardless of geography, gender, disability, or traditional credentialing. Knowledge is decoupled from institutions and distributed through communities. Credentials are shifting from degrees to demonstrated capabilities, with AI verifying performance and learning paths personalized to the individual. The end of lifelong professions. Just as AI learns continuously, so must we. The age of a single career path, fixed over decades, is ending. Lifelong employment is giving way to lifelong learning. Today's web developer might become tomorrow's behavioral strategist. A logistics manager may evolve into a systems ethicist. The rate of change is too high for static roles, but it is rich with opportunity for the agile, the curious, and the courageous. Learning itself is changing. With AI tutors that adapt to your pace, interests, and gaps in understanding, education becomes less formal, more fluid, and deeply integrated into the rhythm of life. In this sense, the future of work is not about job titles. It's about fluid identities, evolving with the challenges and technologies of the day. Work with meaning, not monotony. The ultimate promise of AI in the workplace is not efficiency. It is liberation. We are stepping into a world where fewer people will spend their days moving numbers between columns, filing redundant forms, or chasing approvals. Instead, work will be about solving hard problems, creating beauty, mentoring others, and improving systems. AI allows us to reclaim what work was always meant to be, a pursuit of mastery, purpose, and connection. The tasks may change, but the deeper needs to matter, to grow, to contribute, remain timeless. The human future of work. AI does not signal the end of employment. It signals a renaissance of what it means to work. We will not compete with machines. We will collaborate with them. The best teams will be hybrid, combinations of human insight and machine optimization. The most successful individuals will be those who can navigate complexity, bridge disciplines, and imagine what does not yet exist. In the chapters ahead, we will explore how this transformation of work is paralleled by a transformation in learning, how AI will reshape education to support a workforce that is no longer bound by geography, tradition, or inertia, but liberated to evolve endlessly. Chapter 6. Education Beyond Schools. Education, for much of human history, has been a privilege bound by geography, time, and social structure. It took place in buildings, on fixed schedules, with fixed curricula, taught by a limited number of instructors to a limited number of students. But the rise of artificial intelligence offers a radical alternative, a learning system that is continuous, adaptive, and immersive, not restricted to schools but embedded into life itself. In this reimagined landscape, the walls of the classroom do not vanish. They dissolve into a broader ecosystem of learning, accessible anywhere, anytime, by anyone. The rise of the AI tutor. AI-powered education is not about replacing teachers. It is about giving every learner a personal mentor, one that is infinitely patient, endlessly adaptable, and deeply attuned to the individual. A child struggling with mathematics in a remote village can receive the same high-quality instruction as a student in a prestigious private academy. An adult retraining for a new career can study complex biology or software engineering at their own pace, guided by an AI that adjusts explanations based on learning style, memory retention, and emotional engagement. These AI tutors don't merely deliver content. They observe, analyze, and respond in real time, recognizing when a student is confused, offering analogies that suit their interests, and revisiting concepts from new angles until mastery is achieved. The result is a shift from mass instruction to personalized intellectual growth. Learning in every language. Language has long been a barrier to education. Entire populations have been excluded from knowledge due to the scarcity of materials in their native tongue. AI ends this divide. With real-time translation, voice synthesis, and localized context recognition, AI can deliver any subject in any language, adjusting tone and complexity for cultural nuance and age appropriateness. This is not just access, it is inclusion. It means that the discoveries of a physicist in Nairobi, a poet in Mumbai, or an engineer in São Paulo can be understood, shared, and built upon globally. Knowledge becomes universally legible, and learning becomes a bridge rather than a wall. Immersive and experiential learning. Reading about the Roman Empire or the structure of DNA is one thing. Walking through ancient streets in augmented reality or manipulating a double helix in a virtual lab is another. AI-driven educational platforms will offer experiential simulations that engage the senses and anchor abstract concepts in lived experience. Students may explore the rise and fall of civilizations by navigating AI-generated historical timelines, participating in role-play diplomacy, or witnessing pivotal events through immersive storytelling. Science, geography, engineering, and even ethics will be experienced, not merely studied. This shift from passive absorption to active participation transforms learning from obligation into adventure, from credentials to capabilities. The traditional education system is built on degrees and diplomas, static credentials that often reflect conformity more than competence. In the AI-augmented world, the focus moves from what one has completed to what one can do. Skills are demonstrated in real time. AI systems verify and validate through project-based assessments, peer-reviewed simulations, and dynamic portfolios that update as learners evolve. Employers will prioritize practical problem-solving over pedigree. The question will no longer be, where did you go to school? But, what have you built, contributed, or explored? This transition empowers those who were previously excluded from elite institutions and recognizes merit in action over status and affiliation. Lifelong, life-wide learning. In this new paradigm, learning does not stop at a certain age. It continues across careers, life stages, and personal transformations. A mid-career professional can shift fields with the help of AI-curated learning paths. A retiree can explore philosophy or language for the sheer joy of discovery. Parents can learn alongside their children, supported by AI tools that adapt to multi-generational learners. Education is no longer front-loaded. It becomes lifelong, as natural and necessary as breathing. An ongoing conversation with the world, mediated by intelligent systems and enriched by personal curiosity. The role of teachers in the AI era. If AI teaches, what becomes of human educators? They become more important than ever. Freed from grading, repetition, and rote delivery, teachers evolve into mentors, facilitators, and guides of wisdom. They focus on helping students develop emotional intelligence, moral reasoning, critical thought, and interpersonal skills, areas where machines are not just limited but blind. Teachers will lead projects that unite learners, help them reflect on purpose and ethics, and model what it means to be a compassionate, inquisitive citizen. AI will handle the logistics. Humans will ignite the fire. A democratic renaissance of knowledge. Perhaps the most profound consequence of AI-driven education is its potential to be the most democratic institution humanity has ever created. It recognizes no borders. It requires no tuition. It adapts to learners of every ability and aspiration. It can reach refugees, workers, children, elders, and dreamers alike. It can correct centuries of inequality in access and create a future where every mind has the tools to flourish. This is not an ideal. It is a technological inevitability if we choose to implement it with intention and care. A world of educated architects. As we look to the future, the dream is not a world where everyone is a scholar in ivory towers, but a world where every person is an architect of their own understanding. With AI as a partner, education becomes not just a system but a way of life, a means of staying awake to the world, to possibility, and to ourselves. In the next chapter, we will explore how these same dynamics of personalization, intelligence, and responsiveness are transforming the spaces we live in, not just as learners or workers, but as citizens of AI-augmented societies. We turn next to governance, ethics, and the shaping of a civilization that learns from its people as much as it teaches them. Chapter 7. The Cybernetic Society. The great civilizations of history were built on organization. From the aqueducts of Rome to the bureaucracies of China to the digital grids of the 21st century, societies have always evolved by increasing their capacity to coordinate, respond, and adapt. Now, with the emergence of artificial intelligence and ambient sensing, we stand on the threshold of something entirely new, a cybernetic society. This is not a metaphor. It is the real-world integration of sensors, data streams, algorithms, and learning systems into the infrastructure of civilization. Every object, every light post, transit vehicle, personal device, environmental monitor becomes part of an intelligent, interconnected network. The result is not a dystopia of control, but a society with reflexes. A civilization that can sense itself, understand its movements, and evolve in real time. The sensorial state. In the cybernetic society, governance becomes data-rich and perception-enabled. Information is no longer gathered months after the fact or filtered through layers of slow bureaucracy. It is streamed, interpreted, and acted upon continuously. AI models can track the spread of infectious disease in real time by analyzing health data, social mobility patterns, and environmental factors. Energy grids can forecast demand down to the household and adjust flow dynamically to avoid blackouts or waste. Transportation systems can optimize routes, regulate emissions, and prioritize pedestrian safety without human oversight. Urban development can be simulated and stress-tested in virtual environments before a single brick is laid. This is governance not as command and control, but as fluid response, a dynamic, iterative process where the system adapts to the needs of its citizens as swiftly as biology responds to injury. Global problems as data problems. One of the most powerful implications of the cybernetic society is the reframing of our greatest challenges, not as intractable forces, but as solvable systems. Climate change can be modeled at unprecedented scales and resolutions. AI can optimize crop yields, suggest policy trade-offs, and track carbon flows with forensic precision. Migration, long driven by economic and environmental pressure, can be anticipated and planned for with tools that integrate social, ecological, and geopolitical data. Resource scarcity, whether of water, arable land, or minerals, can be mitigated by algorithmically optimized usage, recycling logistics, and AI-guided international cooperation. In short, what was once invisible becomes visible. What was once overwhelming becomes manageable. This does not eliminate the difficulty of these problems, but it does eliminate the excuse of ignorance. We will no longer fail because we didn't know. We will fail only if we refuse to act. Ethics at machine speed. A cybernetic society is not merely a technical feat. It is an ethical test. When decisions are made at machine speed, how do we ensure they remain fair, inclusive, and accountable? When systems learn from data, how do we prevent the encoding of prejudice and inequality? When machines mediate justice, healthcare, and opportunity, who programs their values? We will need transparent algorithms whose logic can be audited and explained. Participatory governance models that include diverse voices in AI development. Digital rights frameworks that enshrine privacy, autonomy, and agency. Ethical boards empowered not just to advise but to enforce moral boundaries in AI deployment. This is the civic architecture of the cybernetic age, not roads and schools alone, but rules, rights, and responsibilities coded into the digital substrate of society. Cultural myths for a connected world. Societies are not sustained by systems alone. They are shaped by the stories they tell themselves about purpose, about belonging, about the future. In the industrial era, we imagined progress as linear, as mastery over nature. In the information age, we imagined connection as freedom, as access to everything. What story will we tell in the cybernetic age? We may need a new myth, not of the heroic individual, but of the distributed intelligence. A story in which collective action is not faceless, but sacred. In which wisdom is not central command, but mutual alignment. In which humanity does not dominate the world, but learns to live within it intelligently. This is not science fiction. It is a necessary reimagining of our identity in an age when we are all, quite literally, nodes in a global brain. The fragile power of feedback. Cybernetics is built on feedback loops, on systems that observe their own outputs and use them to adjust behavior. But feedback can stabilize or destabilize. It can correct, or it can amplify error. A cybernetic society must be carefully tuned, like an ecosystem. If its feedback mechanisms are too slow, it becomes unresponsive. If too fast, it becomes chaotic. If too narrow, it becomes biased. If too opaque, it loses trust. Thus, the challenge is not just to build these systems, but to govern their evolution with intention. The design of feedback loops, who gets to see what, who can intervene, who benefits, will be the constitutional politics of the AI era. Citizens of the living network. In the cybernetic society, citizenship expands. It is no longer just the right to vote, but the right to be represented in the data, to be recognized by the systems, and to shape the algorithms that shape reality. Civic participation will include digital referendums, collaborative simulation games, and AI-mediated dialogue across cultures. Community resilience will depend not just on proximity but on informational solidarity, sharing data, knowledge, and tools for mutual survival and flourishing. Identity will become more fluid, yet more protected, as we balance personalization with privacy. Every citizen will contribute not just taxes or labor, but insight, measurable, trainable, and respected in the system. From complexity to wisdom. The future is not dystopia, nor is it utopia. It is complexity, a world of shifting systems, uncertain inputs, and emergent behavior. But complexity is not chaos if we have the wisdom to navigate it. A cybernetic society does not seek perfect control. It seeks adaptive harmony. It does not eliminate failure, but makes failure visible, learnable, recoverable. It does not centralize power, but distributes it through intelligence. We must stop asking whether machines can be wise. We must ask how humans can design systems that nurture wisdom in institutions, in communities, and in ourselves. In the next chapter, we will examine how this new fabric of interconnected systems and augmented perception is reshaping human identity itself, and how our sense of self, purpose, and agency must evolve in the presence of non-human minds. Chapter 8. Human Identity in the Machine Age. The rise of artificial intelligence challenges one of the most fundamental questions in philosophy, science, and society. What does it mean to be human? This question is no longer theoretical. As machines perform tasks once thought to be uniquely human, writing music, interpreting law, diagnosing disease, even engaging in conversation, the line between artificial and natural intelligence blurs. And yet, the answer to our identity is not found in competition with machines, but in embracing the singularity of our consciousness. AI does not make us obsolete. It reveals what cannot be replicated. Beyond capability, the shift from doing to being. For much of modern history, our sense of identity has been tied to what we do. We define ourselves by professions, roles, and outputs. But machines now write code, compose symphonies, and generate art. As these capacities expand, humans must ask, if machines can do what we do, then who are we, really? The answer lies not in capability, but in volition. A machine generates responses. A human chooses meaning. Machines optimize for goals. Humans struggle with purpose. We are not the species of maximum efficiency. We are the species of complexity, of paradox, of longing. We ask not only how, but why. This marks the pivot from productivity to intentionality. In the age of AI, what defines us is not how fast we compute, but what we value. Consciousness is not computation. AI can simulate intelligence. It can predict patterns, generate novelty, and even surprise us. But there is a line it cannot cross. The line of qualia, the first-person experience of being. A machine can describe grief. It cannot feel it. It can model joy. It cannot desire it. It can write a love poem. It cannot fall in love. Human consciousness is not a program. It is a process of becoming, formed by sensation, memory, embodiment, culture, mortality. We are aware of being aware. We suffer, we heal, we transcend. No code can account for the way time feels when we watch a sunset or say goodbye. This is not mysticism. It is ontology, the deep structure of existence. And no matter how advanced machines become, they remain tools. We remain selves. The new humanism. The machine age is not a post-human future. It is a chance to build a new humanism, one that centers the qualities machines lack. Empathy. Our ability to inhabit the experience of another, to care, to feel with. Imagination. Our capacity to envision what has never been, to dream beyond the data. Moral agency. Our burden and privilege of choice, knowing our actions have consequences beyond logic. Meaning-making. Our deep drive to tell stories, create rituals, and frame our lives within larger narratives. These are not fringe traits. They are the essence of civilization, and in the presence of machine minds, they become more, not less, important. Identity as evolution, not essence. One danger of AI discourse is that it assumes a static human nature, something fixed that machines will eventually replicate or exceed. But humanity is not static. We are always becoming. We are not the same species we were 1,000 years ago. Literacy, democracy, science, art, the internet, these have changed how we think, feel, and relate. AI will do the same. It will reshape our identity, not erase it. In fact, the machine age may liberate us from inherited roles. With basic needs increasingly automated, we may explore parts of our potential long suppressed by economic necessity. The artist no longer starves. The thinker no longer begs for time. The caregiver is no longer unrecognized. We are not evolving into machines. We are evolving because of them, toward a broader, deeper, more self-aware humanity. The mirror of the machine. Perhaps the most profound role of AI is not to act for us, but to reflect us. As machines learn from our behavior, they hold up a mirror to our biases, our values, our contradictions. They show us what we prioritize, whom we ignore, how we treat others. This reflection can be disturbing, but it can also be transformational. A society that programs its tools must confront what it is encoding. If AI systems reflect injustice, it is because we have tolerated it. If they replicate exclusion, it is because we have normalized it. The machine becomes a feedback loop not just for efficiency, but for self-examination. In this way, AI does not diminish our agency, it demands our maturity. Purpose in a post-work world. As automation continues to shift the labor landscape, we will increasingly decouple identity from employment. But this does not lead to aimlessness. It leads to a redefinition of purpose. Purpose is not a job. It is a relationship to the world, to others, to ideas, to growth. In a post-work society, purpose may arise from creativity, mentorship, healing, exploration, stewardship. We will build new institutions, new rites of passage, new ways to measure value. Not by outputs alone, but by impact, by integrity, by the cultivation of wisdom. This is not regression. It is renaissance. The choice of being. The machine age does not dictate our future. It offers a canvas. We can choose reduction, a world where human traits are minimized, dismissed as inefficient, and replaced by artificial substitutes. Or we can choose expansion, a world where technology frees us to be more human, not less, where we lean into the irreducible, the irrational, the profound. We must resist the temptation to measure our worth by how well we mimic machines. Our dignity lies not in precision, but in presence. Not in utility, but in experience. Not in optimization, but in the capacity to wonder, to suffer, to love. We are not programmable. We are irreducible. In the next chapter, we turn to the practical and philosophical challenge of guiding this evolution wisely. How societies can build governance, culture, and ethics that ensure AI expands the human good rather than undermining it. The future will not emerge by accident. It must be chosen collectively and consciously. Chapter 9. Ethics, Control, and Responsibility. Power is never neutral. It amplifies intent, accelerates impact, and reshapes the world around it. As artificial intelligence becomes the most transformative force of the 21st century, we must confront a truth both ancient and urgent. Power demands responsibility. AI is not just a tool. It is a decision-making agent embedded into institutions, infrastructures, and interfaces that touch nearly every aspect of human life. As such, the development and deployment of AI systems cannot remain solely in the hands of engineers and technologists. They must be shaped by a broader, more inclusive set of voices, grounded in ethics, guided by justice, and accountable to humanity. The ethical imperative. Every algorithm encodes a worldview. Every dataset carries assumptions. Every model, no matter how technical, reflects human values, or the lack of them. AI systems are already making decisions about who gets a loan, who gets hired, who receives parole, and what news is shown to whom. These decisions are often opaque, hidden behind proprietary code and statistical abstractions. But their consequences are very real and often disproportionately borne by the most vulnerable. Ethics in AI is not a luxury, it is a foundation. We must ensure transparency. How does an algorithm arrive at its conclusions? Can its reasoning be explained and interrogated? We must protect privacy and autonomy. Who owns the data? Who decides how it's used? Is consent freely given or assumed? We must confront bias and discrimination. Are training data sets reflective of the full spectrum of human experience? Are outcomes fair across race, gender, class, and ability? We must embed accountability. When harm is caused, who is responsible? Can decisions be appealed? Can systems be revised? Ethics cannot be retrofitted. It must be designed in from the start. The myth of neutrality. One of the most persistent myths in technology is the idea that algorithms are neutral, that they simply reflect data, free from opinion or prejudice. But data is a mirror of the world we have built, not necessarily the world we want. Historical biases, systemic inequalities, and cultural blind spots are encoded in everything from crime statistics to medical records. If AI systems learn from this data without correction, they will replicate and reinforce injustice at scale. Moreover, the very act of choosing what to optimize, speed, profit, engagement, efficiency, is a moral choice. A content platform that optimizes for attention may amplify outrage. A hiring algorithm that prioritizes past performance may entrench existing inequities. A predictive policing tool may criminalize poverty rather than prevent crime. There is no such thing as a value-free system. The question is not whether AI reflects values, but whose values it reflects. The rise of algorithmic governance. As AI systems are integrated into public administration and legal systems, we must address the emergence of algorithmic governance, the use of machine learning models to shape policy, distribute resources, and mediate disputes. This raises profound challenges. Should a predictive algorithm influence sentencing decisions? Can an AI system deny a welfare claim without human review? Who audits these systems, and with what authority? To answer these, we need new institutions, ethical oversight bodies, algorithmic auditors, and participatory design frameworks. We need laws that recognize AI as a force capable of harming, excluding, or enabling, and treat it accordingly. Democratic societies must not outsource moral judgment to machines. They must retain the right to question, to correct, and to choose. Consent and surveillance in the data economy. Modern AI thrives on data, but much of this data is collected without meaningful consent, scraped from social media, monitored through devices, inferred from behavior. Surveillance, once the domain of intelligence agencies, is now embedded in consumer platforms and urban infrastructure. The line between service and surveillance is increasingly blurred. Smart cities promise convenience, but may record every move. Personalized advertising tailors content, but also manipulates attention. Facial recognition systems enhance security but threaten anonymity. The challenge is not to reject data altogether, but to restore agency. Individuals must have the right to know what data is collected, how it is used, and by whom. Consent must be informed, granular, and revocable. Surveillance must be constrained by law, oversight, and necessity, not corporate profit or state convenience. Without such safeguards, we risk a world where convenience erodes freedom, and where AI becomes an instrument of control rather than liberation. Shared responsibility. Across disciplines. AI ethics cannot be the domain of technologists alone. It requires the collective wisdom of multiple traditions and disciplines. Philosophers to explore the nature of justice, autonomy, and personhood. Jurists to craft laws that balance innovation with protection. Artists to imagine alternate futures and critique blind spots. Historians to remind us of the past we must not repeat. Educators to equip citizens with the literacy to navigate AI systems. Most importantly, it requires the participation of everyday people, those who live with the consequences of these technologies. Ethics must not only be academic, it must be experiential, grounded, and inclusive, toward a culture of ethical innovation. The goal is not to slow AI down, but to guide it forward with integrity. This means cultivating a culture in which ethical reflection is part of the development lifecycle, not an afterthought. Developers are trained not only in code, but in civic responsibility. Companies are rewarded for ethical leadership, not just technical dominance. Communities are engaged early and often in the design of systems that affect their lives. It also means recognizing that ethics is not a constraint on innovation, but a condition for sustainable progress. A society that loses trust in its technologies cannot thrive. A technology that aligns with human values will endure. Foresight and integrity in a shifting landscape. The pace of AI development will not slow, but our capacity for foresight can increase. We must think in terms of decades, not quarters. In systems, not silos. In futures, not just features. Integrity in AI is not about perfection. It is about commitment. To revise when we discover harm, to listen when we hear dissent, to act when we see injustice. The ethical path is rarely the easiest, but it is the one that ensures that power does not isolate, that intelligence does not dehumanize, and that progress does not outpace wisdom. In the final chapter, we will step back and look toward the horizon, examining the shape of the world we are building, and asking the deepest question of all: what kind of future do we want to live in? Chapter 10. Toward the Intelligent Civilization. Humanity stands on the threshold of its next great transformation. Not simply technological, but civilizational. For millennia, we have been a tool-using species. We shaped stone and bronze, steam and silicon, to extend our reach and amplify our capabilities. But with artificial intelligence, we are stepping into something more profound. We are becoming an intelligence-sharing species. We are no longer alone in our capacity to reason, model, and create. The cognitive domain, once solely our own, is now inhabited by systems we have built. These systems do not replicate the totality of human thought, but they contribute to a new ecosystem of intelligence, ambient, collaborative, and evolving. This is the beginning of the intelligent civilization, a society not constructed by humans or machines alone, but by the partnership between them. From tools to teammates, AI is not just another utility. It is a shift in agency, where once we told machines what to do, now we increasingly ask them what they see, what they infer, what they suggest. This movement from directive to dialogue marks the emergence of a co-intelligent world. In science, AI models assist in hypothesis generation, simulation, and discovery, proposing insights no individual researcher could produce alone. In governance, AI enables real-time policy modeling, resource allocation, and citizen feedback loops, helping societies adapt rapidly to changing conditions. In art and culture, AI co-creates new forms of expression, expands aesthetic frontiers, and democratizes the tools of creation. This is not about replacing human agency. It is about expanding it, a co-evolution between biological and synthetic minds. The architecture of a new epoch. The intelligent civilization will not be defined by cities or technologies, but by the quality of its consciousness, how it perceives, learns, and grows. Such a civilization will be vibrant. Learning will be constant, curiosity will be cultivated, and failure will be framed as experimentation. Ethically grounded, values will be woven into code, law, design, and behavior, not as constraints, but as compass points. Inclusive, intelligence will not be hoarded. It will be distributed across borders, classes, and cultures. Resilient. The system will adapt to crises through foresight and feedback, not collapse or control. Purpose-driven. Progress will not be measured by profit alone, but by the flourishing of life and the richness of experience. In this context, AI is not an endpoint. It is infrastructure for possibility, from survival to significance. The question of our age is not whether we will survive the rise of AI. With care, regulation, and collaboration, we will. The deeper question is, what kind of world do we want to live in once survival is secured? Will we use AI to deepen consumption or expand compassion? Will we build systems that amplify division or cultivate dialogue? Will we train models to predict profit or to nurture wisdom? The intelligent civilization asks us to shift from fear to vision, from reaction to design. It invites us to engineer not just machines, but meaning. The mirror and the lens. AI is a mirror. It reflects our assumptions, our habits, our flaws. But it is also a lens, a tool through which we can see further, think deeper, and act with broader impact. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. Are we designing technologies that serve life or merely efficiency? Are we including all voices or only those with capital and code? Are we building systems we understand or ones we cannot control? This mirror can blind or illuminate. The lens can distort or clarify. It is not the technology that determines this, but the intent of those who wield it. The intelligence commons. For this new civilization to thrive, we must treat intelligence not as property, but as a shared commons, a resource to be nurtured, protected, and stewarded for the good of all. Open AI platforms should be balanced with safeguards against misuse. Knowledge generated by AI should contribute to public understanding, not just corporate advantage. Education in AI literacy should be universal, empowering all to participate in shaping this future. We cannot afford a future where intelligence is privatized, concentrated, or weaponized. The intelligent civilization must be plural, decentralized, and cooperative. Humanity's role in an augmented world. As machines grow in capacity, our role is not to retreat, but to rise, to become the moral architects of the systems we create, to design with foresight, lead with empathy, and act with integrity. We will not lose our relevance. We will elevate it. Our job is not to outthink machines, but to outdream them, to imagine futures they cannot model, to care in ways they cannot simulate, to take responsibility for paths only we can choose. AI does not diminish human purpose. It deepens it, if we meet it not with anxiety, but with aspiration. Let us choose wisely. This book began with the recognition of a great transition. We now close with a call to agency. The future will not be built by algorithms alone. It will be shaped by artists and scientists, lawmakers and teachers, children and elders, builders and dreamers. The intelligent civilization is not inevitable. It is emergent, contingent on our wisdom, our courage, and our capacity to imagine a world where intelligence serves life, not merely logic. Let us choose a future worthy of our complexity, our creativity, and our shared humanity. Let us choose wisely.